Hello and welcome back to Blame the Dice Wargaming. My name's Tim and today we've got some Star Wars Legion unboxing videos for you. I am a little bit late to the game because I didn't get my stuff delivered to me very promptly, unfortunately. So I'm going to do a video anyway. So today we have two. We have Padme and we have Cad Bane. I'm going to do two small videos so you don't have to sit through one if you're only interested in the other. But please do watch both and like, comment, subscribe and let me know what you think. Okay then, let's check out Cad Bane. Let's see what this guy's all about. Now, I don't know if you've been watching the Clone Wars cartoon series. He is an absolute predominant character, or prominent character in that rather, and certainly has all the tricks and certainly keeps the Jedi second guessing himself. A couple of different variations in his pose that you get here, hat or unhat. Though I've got to be honest with you, you've got to go with a hat. I think you have to, and some nice ones with him kind of detonating an explosive on him, or just shooting towards his enemy. Anyway, let's start have a look at it. So, I hope the camera's picking this up nicely for you, but lots of nice detail, hard plastic on a sprue, blah blah blah, the kind of stuff we are becoming oh so familiar with. Now, some really nice detail here on the face. Let me see if I can hold that still, see if you can get a good look at there. So we've got the one on the left, which is a kind of quite angry looking face. And then the one on the right is more of a sneer. And this is the hat head, if I want for a better description. The detail on the body is genuinely exquisite. I mean, it's so nice. I don't think I'm really doing it justice there with the lighting or the camera angle. But essentially there's so many kind of pleats, folds, buttons, fastenings, zips. Really going to be nice. If only I was a good enough painter to do him justice, but hell, I'm going to try. And then there's the back of his cloak, which is just, kind of standard, but much nicer than what we've seen. If you remember what the cloaks on like Han Solo or like the Rebel officers and what have you looked like. And there's just his breathing tubes because he does have those attached to his face. Right then, so face, of course, we kind of know that. Got our instructions, which have all the details you need to kind of put them together. And of course, a lot of rules because this guy has a lot that comes with him. And that's what we're going to look at now. So, one of the first things that I noticed with this, and I already had a quick look at this. I haven't read the cards because I actually do read them for the first time when I'm doing this. Because I like to be surprised and I like to think about what it might mean. But I was like, oh, I've been given two lots of cardboard. They've sent me an extra one. I'll see if somebody else out on the Facebook world needs some. But then I realised very quickly that he had a whole mess of tokens that comes with him. So no doubt these are kind of command card specific. So we'll discover what that does in the very near future. So we'll start off looking at his main card. Excellent, yeah, so he's a unit card. And then we'll take it from there. Needs no introduction, apparently, according to his card. I gave him an introduction, but I guess if you've been watching Clone Wars or know a bit more about the wider lore, he probably didn't need much introduction. He is an operative, a trooper, 6 health, 3 courage, and defends on white dice. And just like Padme, so far he surges up and down offensively and defensively. Looking at his weapons, though, he has a dual LL-30 blaster pistols, which is range 1 to 2 and pierce 1 with 4 black. So essentially he is, if you excuse the range anyway, shooting like a standard squad of rebels on their own, but he's got pierce 1, which is pretty good. He's got martial arts as a melee combat, so that's always nice, though I don't know if this is the kind of unit you're going to be trying to get in melee, but at least if somebody does kind of catch him unawares, he does have a bit of a punch, and he's got a host of different things in terms of upgrades. So you've got grenades, you've got a config pistol or something you can add to him, gear, comms, and a training upgrade, all for 125 points. So far, he seems quite expensive. So let's have a quick look at what his keywords do, and let's see if that starts to make a bit more sense. So, first and foremost, we've got Jump 1. Jump is a great keyword, so essentially I'm sure you know, but he'll be able to do as a action, a speed maneuver where he can clear height 2. So I'm saying everything wrong. He can clear height 1, but he can do a speed 2 maneuver here. So essentially he will be able to do that. Now he's also got Bounty. So this is the first time we're seeing this for the Separatist. So he needs to, at the start of his game, declare somebody who's the subject of his bounty. So that's going to be a commander or an operative, that kind of unit. And essentially, he will gain a victory token if he is able to kill them, which is excellent. Now, this guy has Danger Sense 2 baked into him. So essentially, if he's got 2 suppression tokens on him, he can roll up to 2 additional defense dice for those 2 suppression tokens, which is really, really nice, because when you're a white dice unit, that can make a big difference. And I've seen it on, say, for example, Pathfinders work out tremendously well, where they just aren't killable, or it's so hard to chip them down because they've got all these extra dice to roll. Danger Sense 2, not a bad number. He's got Sharpshooter 1, so anything in heavy covers and light cover as far as he's concerned. And he's also got Steady. So after you perform a move action, you may perform a free ranged attack action. Now, we haven't seen that since the Snowtroopers, so that's really, really useful. This basically tells me that this is going to be a unit that isn't going to be standing off to the sidelines, that isn't going to be doing like a Bosk kind of shooting at people from across the table. He's maybe, I'm not going to say he's more like Boba, but he's certainly going to be involved in things. He's got Jump 1, he's got the ability to get up over and over things. He's got Sharpshooter 1, so he can get things that are in difficult terrain, heavy terrain. And he's got Steady, so he's going to get the ability to, let's just say, move twice and be able to shoot at something as well built in, which is really good. So, let's now look at what you get in terms of upgrade cards. So we'll start off with his config, and this is ELECTRO Gauntlets. This is a 3 red attack dice melee weapon. So in my view, when I was saying, I don't think you'll be getting into melee combat, well, you can maybe forget about that. This is absolutely incentivizing you to get into it if that's what you want to do. It's 10 points, which for 4 red dice is fantastic when you think that Padme gets 1 red dice and a white at range 1 to 3 for 5. So just look at the 2 of them. Obviously, this has some opportunity cost because you have to get there first of all, but brilliant costing there. And this is for Cad Bane only, so no one else is going to be having this. And you can perform moves while engaged with a unit that has 1 or more immobilized token, even while this card is exhausted. And this card has immobilized 3, so a unit wounded by an attack that includes this weapon gains 3 immobilization tokens. And it's suppressive, so that's absolutely fantastic. So it's going to be doling out suppression tokens, doling out immobilized tokens, and also you are going to be able to do, you can disengage essentially from that unit because you can perform a move whilst engaged that unit that has a mobilized token. So whilst you aren't technically able to disengage normally, because if you've got that one unit that you've attacked in melee combat that's got the immobilized tokens, you can essentially disengage from it, which is going to be really, really useful to you if you are in a bit of a rock and a hard place. So an excellent thing to see. I really like that. Okay, let's see what else we've got. We've got 2. Here's our first one, Offensive Push, and this is the ability to gain Tactical 1, which is you'll gain an aim token when you perform a move action. This is exhaustible, however, but could be really useful. Now, we've got Situational Awareness. Now, this is the first time outside of shield tokens, which enables you to spend a dodge to cancel out a crit. And this is for only 2 points. So you gain outmaneuver, so essentially you can cancel dodges. Now, I think we saw this on the Saber Tank. The only difference that's worth pointing out here is if it was being run on another unit outside of a support unit, there we go, you'd increase its cards by 4. So in this case, for a trooper, like Cad himself, it'd only be 2 points. You get a grenade token, so you gain Smoke 1. So place 1 smoke token with range 1 and line of sight of unit leader. Essentially, this gives you light cover. It also kind of grants your enemy light cover if you're trying to shoot at them. But if you are in a tricky position, you need to get out somewhere, this is great to have. Also quite thematic for somebody like Cad Bane. This is really exactly the kind of thing he'd be using in the Clone Wars. We have Ascension cables. Now this is the only unit other than Padme, where you can get this right now. And essentially as a free action, you gain scale, so you can go across things. So essentially think about it having environmental gear. So essentially you can go across things without suffering the detriment of a difficult terrain, but also either at the start or the end of your movement, you can do a clamber. So you can go up and down. So it's somewhere between a very, very well priced and afforded environmental gear and grappling hooks. The only difference is this one is exhaustible, but it is a free action. I really like this, and I think for someone like Cad who's going to be getting about the places, it could be really, really good. And here we are with Comms Jammer. So if you get at range 1, other units can't be issued an order unless they're issuing to themselves. I haven't got an idea in my head how I'll be using this, but maybe you do. I'd be interested to see what you come up with. Let's take a look at its command cards. So we'll start with his 3-pip, I make the rules now. This is just an order for Cad Bane. Let's have a look at the text. So, if this card was not divulged, place 1 Bane token within range 1 of Cad Bane and beyond range 1 of all other units. These are your Bane tokens. This is something we'll have to read through the special rules to understand more about these shortly. So, divulge in the deploy unit setup. Place 3 Bane tokens on the battlefield beyond range 1 of any deployment zone. Do not deploy Cad Bane. This card must be selected at round 1. And this has an attack, which is range 1, with 2 red, 2 black, surges to crit, blast, so ignores cover, impact 2, and is suppressive. I think to give us some insight in this, we probably need to stop and have a look at what the rules say about Cad Bane tokens. Okay then, so Bane tokens. Cad Bane has a set of 3 unique Bane tokens that can be placed in the battlefield by his command card. I make the rules now. Bane tokens are double-sided with a uniform back and 3 different images on the front. Each links to the unique effect. They come in 2 sets of 3 tokens and player colours, blah blah blah. Okay, so when a player places Bane tokens, they place them face down using the token that matches the player colour. After a mini moves, deploys or is placed within range 1 of an enemy Bane token. If that mini has line of sight to the token, that token is revealed. When a Bane token is revealed, it has the following effect. Right, so this is the detail. So let's have a look at this. And just to remind you, these are your tokens, and that is the flip side. So we've got 3 different things that can happen. Firstly, here I am. So if Cad Bane is not on the battlefield and is not defeated, his Here I Am token is replaced with his miniature. Then Cad Bane issues himself an order. If Cad Bane is on the battlefield, his Here I Am token is replaced with a miniature. Any token assigned to Cad Bane remain assigned to him. Interesting stuff. Kablamo. This token detonates using the weapon described on the Cad Bane card. I make the rules now. So this is the one which is the range 1, 2 red, 2 black, surge to crit, blast, impact 2, and suppressive. Really big one. Really like the sound of that. And lastly, smoke and mirrors. This token is removed. At the start of the round, starting with the blue player, a player may remove a friendly Here I Am token and resolve its effects. Okay, really interesting stuff. So essentially, you've got one that puts Cad Bane on the battlefield somewhere random. Well, not so random, but certainly somewhere unexpected that you might not have been seeing. One which is a massive explosion, and one that does nothing. So a real gambit here. Really like that. Okay, let's start looking at his other tokens. So next up is his 2-pip Army in Control. This is for Cad Bane and 1 unit. And the text essentially means that at the start of the end of Cad Bane's activation, he may transfer any number of his suppression tokens to any number of trooper units at range 1 to 2. Each enemy trooper unit that gains at least 1 suppression token in this way also gains 1 immobilization token. Now, in all fairness, that is incredible. So let's just unpack that for a little while. So that's at range 1 to 2. So he may transfer any number of suppression tokens to any number of troopers at range 1 to 2. Now, bear in mind what we had about his ELECTRO gauntlets earlier on. That is a way where you would have ordinarily been giving out immobilization tokens. This is how he could be in melee combat with somebody, issue this card, they're now immobilized. He can now disengage from that unit because it says any number of trooper units at range 1 to 2. Each enemy trooper that has at least 1 suppression token gains the immobilization token. So it's going to have a harsher effect on his enemy, though his friendly troopers will also take the negative side of the suppression tokens. But if the droids, maybe they just won't care. But really good card, and I think that could really make a Jedi or some kind of melee heavy kind of unit fall to pieces, because now they're going nowhere, and he can disengage and they can open fire at that unit, or he can run away and get himself somewhere a little bit safer. I'm your worst nightmare. The artwork on this is truly exceptional. I love it. So let's have a look at the text. an order just to Cad Bane, and Cad Bane gains Uncanny Luck 2. So during Cad Bane's activation, he can perform up to 2 attacks, which this is kind of like a Han Solo card, because we've got an Uncanny Luck 2, so essentially he can roll 2 additional, re-roll 2 additional dice if he falls to his poor white dice defense, and also he gets to do 2 attack actions. So it's kind of like a gunslinger for 1 round. Really nice. The difference is, with it not being a gunslinger, this can be against the same unit, so you can essentially attack. If you've got 1 unit that needs to die, you can absolutely make sure it dies by offloading both its attacks into it. Really nice. I guess the only thing there is you're rolling 4 black with Pierce 1, where Han would have been having 2 reds. With, was it Pierce 2 he's got? The rather nasty attack that Han Solo has. Okay, I'm going to put his models together. Let's take a look at him. And this is what Cad Bane looks like, and we try to get him tilted right so you're not getting shadows by his gigantic sombrero hat. This is the pose I've gone for, setting off a bomb or some kind of device with his hat on as well. I think that's just a really dynamic pose. The only thing I would kind of say is, if you were going to do the same as well, you might want to consider not gluing the arms on, just because I did show you the detail before on his chest piece, and it's going to be very difficult to paint around it. Now, I've just added a dot of glue on these ones, so I can essentially have to snap them off. Bad form, I know, but I wanted to be able to show you what it looked like. And other options were just hatless, or him kind of pointing his guns forward and one to his side. But yeah, really nice stuff. Excellent sculpting by FFG. This is becoming a train of thought for me, but their sculpting team and the work they're doing has become truly phenomenal, and has came such a long way since the early days of the game. So what we're looking at right now is a potential build for Cad Bane. Now, Cad strikes me as a real finesse piece. Usually I would have said the Republic were the ones who had the most finesse, and you had to have some real skill to play with them, which is probably why I wasn't particularly good with them, in all fairness. But looking at the options, I was considering, well, how might I play him if I didn't want to not have him on the table, and I wanted to have to rely on people deploying or coming close enough to the tokens, if you use the Cad Bane tokens, that is. Now, I know that you are able to reveal one, so you do have a bit of control there, but I thought, well, if you weren't, and you wanted to have some control, you might need to have smoke tokens to can give you some cover. You might need ascension cables because you're in a bad spot, or you might even need comms jammers. There's all sorts of things that might want to go on there, and this is why I think it's finesse, because you could say, well, fine, I'll just give him all these things and we've got all bases covered, so he has got every ability, no matter what happens, to capitalise upon it. But when you think he's 125 points and there's 6 points, 4, that says 15, but I think it's actually 5, 10 and 4, you are talking about a massively expensive build, so I don't think anyone's going to be doing that. So this is where the finesse comes in, because I think you're going to need to think carefully about how you want to play him, and I think only players who are really good and have had chance to practice with him and decide what they want to do are going to get the benefit out of it. This is going to take some practicing, and I don't imagine I'll be getting it right first time, but considering how much fun he looks as a character and how variable his cards are, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to try. Alternatively, if you were just going to go for a bit more of a basic build and you weren't really worrying too much about the 3-pip, going with arming control gives you that ability to kind of get him in close, so you can utilise things like the electrical gauntlets, and you might want to have tactical 1, so he has got the M tokens on him, so you can give him real bang for his buck, considering he's only got 4 black dice when he does roll to attack in melee. I really like the idea of this one, particularly being able to give out the immobilisation tokens to any enemy units at range 1. And like I was saying earlier on, the suppression is more likely to be less impactful on the Separatists on account of the predominance to be using droids. And I figured if you were going to be using the 2-pip, you're almost certainly going to be having the 1. This is another one where you'll be getting in relatively close. He will have Uncanny Luck to help keep him on the table for that much longer. And also he'll have the 2 attack actions. So bear in mind, he could move, and then attack twice because he's got steady and, in this case, 2 attacks. Now, if he had offensive push, he could do that with the benefit of an aim token as well for free, which is going to be really, really useful. Yes, you do have to recover that, but I think it's probably a small price to pay to know that you can get up very close, and because you can attack 1 unit twice, you can be putting 8 dice, pierce 2 into them, and your surgeons to hit. I think I'd fancy my chances of taking that off the table. Anyway, that's my initial thoughts. I hadn't had a chance to read through his cards up until I've just opened them right here and right now, which is why I always stutter over them, because I am reading them live for the first time. So I would really like to know how you're found playing Cad Bane on the table. So in the comments, please let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you're looking forward to trying them with, because it's great to have the conversations. I do enjoy reading them and just taking it under advisement, because it might be that in one of our next battle reps, now we're moving back to face ones, that we'll get to use a suggestion that you have put to us, and I'll give you some credit for that. Okay, so please like, subscribe, and go on to the Blame the Dice Wargaming Facebook page and join the conversation there. We have some great competitions, which are usually very, very high value ones. And essentially, if you're already liking and subscribing, you're already most of the way there. And it includes many, many more games rather than just Star Wars Legion, from Blood Bowl to New 40k and Warcry and most other things in between. So, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're staying safe, and hopefully I'll get to see you across a table in real life very soon. Stay well, and bye for now.